All right, let's dive in. Today we're going to open up a case file on what might be the most critical skill any founder can have. And spoiler alert, it's not about having the flashiest idea or a mountain of cash. It's something way more fundamental.
Okay, so I'm going to put it to you straight. What do you think is the single most important skill for an entrepreneur? Is it, I don't know, raw genius, unshakable confidence, being a coding wizard? What do you think?
Nope. It's this: making the right call over and over again. And here's the key. The thing you really need to get, this isn't some magic gift you're born with. It's a muscle. And like any muscle, you have to train it, you have to build it.
And that right there is the entrepreneur's dilemma. So think of this as your mission for the next few minutes, to understand the battlefield where these crucial decisions get made.
So why is this so incredibly hard? I mean, what are we up against? Well, you're basically walking into a perfect storm. For starters, there's massive uncertainty. You're building something new, so there's no playbook, no history to lean on. On top of that, you have imperfect knowledge. You will never have all the information you want. And to cap it all off, the stakes are sky high. One wrong move, one bad call, and poof, the whole thing could go up in smoke.
Okay, so if decision-making is a muscle, you've got to work it out, right? But how do you do that without, betting the entire company on a single rep? You need a gym. You need a safe place to practice, a toolkit to get stronger.
And that's where something called the case method comes in. I love this analogy. Think of it like a teaching hospital for business. It's a simulation. You get to play the role of the top doctor, looking at a real company with a real problem, and you have to make the call. But here's the best part. It's all in a safe environment. The only thing at risk is what you're going to learn.
So, how do you actually tackle one of these cases? There's a method to the madness. First, you just do a quick scan, get the lay of the land. Then you go back with a highlighter, looking for the key facts, the hard numbers. But the next two steps are the most important. You have to get in character. You need to become the founder. And this is the golden rule. You have to time travel. You can only use the information they had back then. No cheating and Googling what happened next.
Okay, toolkits packed, we're scrubbed in. Let's step into our teaching hospital. Our patient today is Michaud, and their story, wow. It's a story of three completely different companies in one, with one massive lesson at the heart of it all.
So here's the quick and dirty timeline of their evolution. They kicked things off with an idea called Fashionere. That didn't quite pan out, so they pivoted to Mersha. And from the rubble of that experience, they found the key to what would become the Michaud we know today. Let's break down each one.
All right, Act 1, Fashionere. The concept was pretty straightforward, actually. An app that lets you try on clothes from local shops right in your home. But here was the big problem. People were signing up, sure, but only when they were practically giving the service away with huge discounts. The second they pulled the plug on the deals, the orders vanished. The verdict was brutal but clear. No problem solution fit. They'd built a nice-to-have, not a must-have. So decision time. What do? They pivoted hard. They turned their attention away from the shoppers and focused on the shops themselves, creating Merishop. Think of it as an Indian version of Shopify for small local stores. And at first glance, this looked like a home run. They were solving a real pain point. But the numbers were telling a totally different and frankly a much scarier story. And this is one of the most important lessons for any founder. The difference between what looks good and what is good. They had 25,000 downloads. That's a vanity metric. It's the number you put on a slide to impress investors. It makes you feel good. But the value metric, the one that tells you if your business is actually alive or dead, was retention. And the retention rate, less than 30%. That's not good.
I want you to just let that sink in for a second. More than 70%, 7 out of every 10 shops that downloaded their app took one look and said, nope, not for me, and never came back. That isn't a red flag. That's a whole field of red flags waving in a hurricane. The market was screaming at them, and they had to decide whether to listen.
But here's where the magic happened. As they were digging through the wreckage of that terrible retention data, they saw a glimmer of something, a tiny, fascinating pattern. There was this small group of users, mostly women, running these little online shops from home on WhatsApp, who weren't just using the app, they were living in it. They realized the problem wasn't just about a catalog. It was about supply, payments, shipping, the whole shebang. And so they pivoted again, building a platform just for them. And boom, that was it. Product market fit.
that glorious moment when the market starts pulling the product out of your hands.
So you see what happened, right? They didn't succeed despite their failures, they succeeded because of them. Each wrong turn was actually a necessary step. So let's debrief. What are the big takeaways here?
This, for me, is the single biggest lesson from the whole story. It's called the corridor principle. You can't see all the doors until you start walking down the hallway. There's just no way Misho's founders could have sat in a room and brainstormed their way to the reseller idea. They had to start walking. They had to build Fashionere, which opened a door to the retailers, which then, and only then, revealed the hidden door to these women micro-entrepreneurs. You have to be in motion to see the next move.
Okay, so what else can we pull from their playbook? First off, pivoting isn't failure, it's strength. It's about being smart enough to not throw good money after bad, which is something called the sunk cost fallacy. Second, you have to be absolutely obsessed with your customer. The data told them what was happening, the bad retention, but only by talking to that small group of power users did they figure out why. And finally, know your own business. Don't get caught up chasing growth before you've even figured out if people truly want what you're selling. Nail product market fit first. Then, and only then, step on the gas.
So that brings us back to you. The case file is now on your desk. Your big idea is out in the world. The early numbers are in, and they're not great. You're standing in that hallway, you can see the door you came through, but it's not the right one. Now, with everything we just walked through, what's your next call?